Hmm. Okay, good afternoon once again, class. Today, let us have a look at the branch, the sociology of education. So, first of all, we have some branches of sociology. Branch of sociology. It deals with the systematic analysis of social aspects and processes in education. It sees education as a system as well as structure within society. Sees interaction between education and social as a social institution and other social institution. Studies the interaction patterns with the education as a system. In doing so, sociology of education makes the following assumption. Human beings need education. They are capable of educating and human beings educate their young ones. Human beings are social and they can only have a meaningful existence through the interaction and relationship with others in society. Education or socialization can be studied without considering its social context. Education is an interactive process between the learner and the teacher, and also between the learner and the environment. Education is a process. Is a process through which the learner become an active participant in social life. Yeah. So based on the factors above, therefore, sociology Sociology will try to determine the content of education by looking at one, what do we want the learner to become? The social desire. Methods of teaching by looking at first is how we can influence the learner. Second one is how am I to influence learner's participation? When will we influence that child's development? From this, therefore, sociology of education has its roots in sociology. Also has its origin in other philosophies of education, namely, one, philosophy of individualistic pedagogy. This one is child-centered approach. Proponents of philosophy include Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Immanuel Kant, Ivan Illich, Friedrich Froben. According to this school of thought, education should produce a free individual. Aims and content of education should reflect individual rather than social interest. For example, the primary aim of education should be to achieve personal happiness and well-being of the learner. State interference should be limited. Let us look at the first proponent of the philosophy, that is Jean-Jacques Rousseau from 1712 to 1717. Jean wrote 5 volumes of a book called Emile. The first 4 volumes dealt with the education of Emile to adulthood. Volume 5, Education of Emile and his wife, Sophia. He argues educators should not begin education by focusing on syllabus or the content. Instead, consider the interest of the child. Education should ensure the development of a human being who enjoys learning and who is keen to continue learning. In childhood, learning should be the physical activity and experience. He also rejected use of corporal punishment as a corrective measure. It encourages learners to cheat, lie in fear of being caned. Education should be a happy experience of the learner. The second philosopher is Friedrich Froben from 1782 to 1852. Following the footsteps of Rousseau, Froben proposed that children should be nurtured very carefully. He believed that children or learners learn to understand the world through play. He introduced the idea of kindergarten, a garden of children. Like a gardener, a teacher should take a great care of his or her children, stroke learners. The learning environment should be pleasant. The school should have enough playtoys and playthings for the child. The learner should be allowed to learn what is relevant to him or her, or what he or she can comprehend. Third philosopher story is Ivan Illich, 1926 to 2002, and Everett Raymond from 1910 to 1998. These two, the scholars, met at the Catholic University of Puerto Rico. Raymond was a student of Illich. Illich wrote a Schooling Society, 1970, and Raymond's The School is Dead in the year 1971. Proponents of alternative in education, they believe that the present school system is anti-educational because it kills creativity among learners. Learners are made to believe that they cannot learn anything unless it's taught. According to Illich, most learning is not necessarily the result of teaching. He criticized certification as indicators of one's talent, skills, or what one has achieved. Certification is not a reliable measure of achievement and capability of a learner. He suggests that the method to be used in the school should be learning by experience and discovery. Learner can observe, taste, experiment with material. The role of the teacher under this approach should be passive. A teacher should not pose as the expert of knowledge, but he should provide adequate resources and facilities to encourage learning. He should encourage learners to conduct experiments and discover for themselves. He should guide but not control the learner. He should provide an equal opportunity environment for all learners. Teacher should be neutral. The second philosophy is philosophy of social pedagogy. It suggests that it sees education as socialization. Proponent of this philosophy includes John Dewey, Emil Durkheim, and Paul Lathrop. This philosophy was developed as an alternative to the child-centered approach. Proponents of this approach believe that education is a social phenomenon or process. One can only become human through interaction with other people in society. Therefore, education is socially determined in aims, content, and methods. Education has to serve the needs of the society. Yeah. So let me take you through the origin of sociology of education. We have Durkheim's contribution to the sociology of education. The following are his contribution. One, he was one of the earliest scholars to use empirical method to study the society in which education forms part. Second contribution is that he developed the sociological theory which forms part of the foundation in sociology of education. Thirdly, he reaffirmed that the fact that education and society are interdependent and they therefore reflect each other. 4. He saw the essential role played by schools of preparing the young people for the roles in society. 5. He was concerned with how education can be used in creating moral values as the foundation of the society. Again, he saw classrooms as small societies, since any change in the society reflects a change in education and vice versa. According to him, discipline was the morality of the classroom and asserted that without it, a class is just like a mob. He also stressed that the fact that in every time and place, education is closely related to other institutions, to other current values and beliefs of the society. Durkheim also emphasized on the fact that society is perpetuated perpetuated through educational institutions, which help instill values in children. Right. John Dewey. You also have John Dewey as a philosopher during the year 1859 and 1952. John Dewey is best remembered for his proposition of the his ideal school. He looked at what may be called an appreciation of the relationship between the school and the society. His interest in education began to develop after observing how fast the simple community like organization in his time are changing. The main institution trusted with a child's education, which were the church and the schools, were often unable to cope with the change. They were insufficient in preparing a school to meet the new social ways adapted by this changing society. He therefore concluded that a child faced sheer confusion as he walked to adulthood in the new society. Dewey suggested an ideal school in which it will be possible to elicit a social cooperation capable of enriching the social life growth of a child. The components that Dewey covered as possible of preparing that enrichment will be the community and the established school. He therefore promoted a practical way of educating a child in the best possible manner, reflecting a sense of community, life as expressed in the interest, hope, needs, and expectations of the larger society. The social cooperation stimulated by his ideal school will help the child's social life, both in his home and neighborhood. Eventually, by offering this kind of social education to a growing child who will be able to stand on his own, the society will be much improved. Okay, Sir Fred Clark was another philosopher in the year 1930s. His observation about the sociological methodology to education came in the form of his open recognition of the fact that sociology can practically be applied in the planning of an educational program. This reared will then rear the produce citizen with characters of the type preferred in the society. He thus concluded that the content of education ought to have a common determination of purpose in training young individuals for citizen consciousness. Karl Mannheim was another philosopher in the year 1940s. Karl was a German sociologist who viewed education as a social technique which should be used to socially control the society. He equally said that education program could also be used to improve society. W.A.C. Stewart, another philosopher who came in after Karl Mannheim in the year 1950. Stewart proposed a training course for teachers which will begin with a basic knowledge of sociological issues, the social structure, control, change, and other, before investigating into the application of sociology in the realm of education. In education. Yeah, he further argued that looking into curriculum, the classroom discipline, another teacher, the institution of sociology, another concern of both sociological and educational values. Let us move into another subtopic, that is the social philosophers movement on sociology and education. The social philosophers provided an organism view of society. In this interpretation, the society compared to a whole organism whose living was greatly reliant on different parts of the organ. The institution found in this society or the organs doing specialized tasks on behalf of the complete organism whose living was greatly dependent on his parts. Education is one of them. Education is one of these institutions which had the specific job of teaching and preparing all members of the society, the children in particular, for the proper responsibilities, aptitudes, attitudes, manners, behavior that will be expected of them later. It thus transformed a particular society's culture. Scope of education. Scope of sociology of education. It studies the aim, the contents, and function of the education and their influence on society. It examines the relationship in school and classrooms. It studies schools and classroom organizations. It examines the problems associated with schooling in order to establish the causes and suggest remedies. It explores the relationship between education and other social institutions and their influence on teaching and learning. It studies the child's social environment and it reflects on learning. It also examines child's culture and its impact on learning. It also examines socialization and its impact on learning. It also studies the teaching profession, the role of the teacher, and the status of the teaching profession. The second last subtopic of our today's class is the importance of sociology of education to teacher trainees. Importance of sociology of education to teacher trainees. The first importance is that it helps the teacher to understand the social relationship and organization in schools, in classroom. It helps the teacher in classroom management and organization. It helps the teacher to have proper school layout or physical planning or design. It helps the teacher to understand the relationship between the institution of education and other institution of the society and their influence on education. It enables the teacher to understand the social environment of the child and its influence in the educational outcomes. It helps the teacher to understand the goals and objectives of education in any country. Enables the teacher to understand the social factors, variables which affect educational systems, fee, lack of government support, poor economy, amongst others. The last important is it enables the teacher to understand the role of education in social change and the theories of social change. Lastly, let us look at the sociology of education again. So, the sociology of education deals with the variety of issues in education, summarized into the following. 1. Concerned with the relationship between education in the system and the education in which it is taking place. 2. Sociology of education deals with issues concerning functions of education in society. Aims of education in society. For example, development of human resource or manpower, role of education in citizen training, role of education as a socializing agent, social certification and effects on education. So effects of education, effects of social economic status on education attainment. This is looked in the perspective such that the following question must be answered. 1. How does the social class affect educational structure, educational attainment? The school is a formal social organization, social or structural arrangement within the school. Interaction, stroke pattern. Interaction patterns stroke relationship within the school. The school environment and its effect on learning. Teaching profession. Its status, remuneration, job satisfaction, attitudes, competence, adequate motivation, preparedness of multiple roles as a teacher, counselor, parent, magistrate. And lastly, it examines learning environment and how it affects learning. So, up to there, we have come to an end of our today's class. So, let me wish you a good evening. Have a nice time. Thank you.